Hey guys, I'm back to talk about the Vatic Pro Oni. This is my follow-up to my initial and first impressions video. This is going to be an in-depth analysis and review with comparison to the 14mm flash. So just to start it off, Daryl at Vatic Pro offered a full refund when I reached out to him about the Vatic Oni. So I wanted to say that there's great customer service here. He responded on Discord and an email during work hours, and even once on the weekend as well. So I wanted to just give a shout out and say that they have great customer service. All right, so right to the first topic here, I wanted to touch on the core crushing. So it's definitely a concern in the early days here. And I wanted to say that there was some small crunching noise that appeared around 15 hours in. This was when I was going to make my first follow-up to my first review, but I wanted to give it a bit longer and just see how it progressed and see if it got hotter. But I want to say in the last about 25 hours since those first 15 hours, I have not noticed it get any worse. The very, very slight crunching noise I hear is still the same amount that it was, first 15 hours in. I definitely felt it get hotter from about 5 hours in to 15 hours in. And it definitely gave me some concern there, but it seems to have stabilized. I'll definitely do an additional update in the future if I notice any of the core crushing progressing any further or getting worse. I wanted to also touch on the grit. I know that there's been some discrepancy of the grit that people have gotten. This is about 40 to 50 hours in now with lots of play and also with lots of drilling. And you can hear it. It's still very grippy compared to my 14mm flash. And the 14mm flash has always been great with spin, but the Vatic Oni, I feel like it's just another step up. And I think that's got something to do, with the 5 layers of carbon fiber that they've weaved with each other. Next on, I want to move to sweet spot. I know that's been a concern that people have asked about as well. I want to say that the sweet spot feels about the same as a 14mm flash. I don't feel any significant difference there. And the miss hits on the edge of the paddle feel about the same as a 14mm flash. So really no big difference there. So to move on, I want to talk about pop. The pop on the paddle for the Oni is definitely significant. It's a lot more than the 14mm flash. When I'm blocking with counters and with no punch motion at all, it's sometimes enough pop to even hit winners off those kind of block counters. And then when I put any kind of swing and power behind my putaways, like if I add any extra muscle exertion and snap my wrist to put the ball away, the immense amount of pop on the ball just causes the ball to rocket off the paddle face. And it's really easy to put away high balls and crush overheads and just put them away for winners. So that's definitely a really nice thing about this paddle. Moving on to control. The control on this paddle can be a little tough at times. The drops definitely take some getting used to and really shaping the ball and getting that spin in there to really make it drop. And with the dinks as well, you really have to take the time to finesse the ball and really loosen your grip and have really soft hands to shape the ball and get it to drop over. And then also the resets can be a little challenging due to the amount of pop you get. Initially, I tried playing with the Oni the same idea with my 14mm flash, and it's not the same lifting motion you do on resets that you do with a lot of other thermoform paddles. You definitely don't need to lift as much for the ball to pop off the face and drop into the kitchen. So that's just something you got to practice and drill with after your paddle breaks in. Next, I want to move on to the power. This is where I think the Vatic Oni really shines here. You get an intense amount of power anytime you swing with the paddle and exert force. It feels like it is multiplying whatever energy you put into the paddle with your swing. So if I want to compare it to the 14mm flash, it's like if the 14mm flash gives me power at like a 1-to-1 ratio, then the Oni would be something analogous to giving me power at like a 2-to-1 ratio, right? It's just taking the amount of force I'm putting into the ball and with my swing and multiplying it. Yeah, so that's just a quick rundown of, you know, the different aspects of play. If you have any other questions, you can leave it in the comments. So just to sum it all up, I'll sum it up with some conclusions here. If you're looking for more power and pop, this paddle, the Vatic Oni, is definitely going to give you all that you need. I have body bagged a ton of friends using the Oni, and I actually stopped doing speed ups at open play because I don't want to body bag less advanced players. So if that's what you're looking for and you want to punish some of your friends, this is a great paddle for that. The control shots with this paddle can be challenging due to the power and pop, and it definitely requires a lot of time to adjust and get used to, and changing your stroke. The break-in period is a little annoying because you really don't know what you have with the paddle until you break it in. There have been reports of other people's paddles crunching more after more play, but it hasn't happened to me after 40 to 50 hours here of, you know, play and with drilling. But I'll definitely provide another update if I notice more core crushing as I play more and drill more with this paddle. But seeing as how I regularly crack Franklin X40s with my overheads and putaways, I can't imagine applying any more force to the paddle face than I already have. So I don't anticipate any additional core crushing from this point forward. Maybe the people having issues with the paddle core crushing heavily are maybe leaving their paddles in really hot climates, because I will say I do take care of my paddles. You know, as soon as I'm done playing, I always stick the paddle right back into this case here, and then I throw the paddle and the case into my backpack. And then when I get home, I immediately take my backpack out of my trunk and I toss it into my basement, which is air conditioned at home. So I definitely keep my paddle climate controlled for the majority of time and don't leave it sitting out anywhere hot. So maybe that's contributing to the people's core crushing. Anyways, to sum it up, for my recommendations, I would strongly recommend this new Vatic Pro Oni 16mm flash for those that are looking for more power in their ground strokes and more pop at the kitchen. It definitely feels like it is a step up from the 14mm flash. If you want something more all court, then I would recommend sticking with the Gen 2 Vatic Pro 14mm flash, as it still has good pop and power, but just a little bit more control there. And if you want something with even more control, then I would shift to the Vatic Prism Flash 16mm. That paddle is just softer and better for people who are more focused on the soft game. But yeah, if you're purchasing any of these paddles from Vatic Pro, please use my promo code ALEX412 at checkout, and it'll get you an additional $10 off your purchase for any of these paddles, and it does help support me. So you can find the promo code in the description and a link to the Vatic Pro site. All right, thanks everybody, and have a good one. And feel free to leave any comments, and I'm happy to answer any additional questions you guys have.